Welcome to the assembly of the last day of the semester. I am so thankful to each of you that have been a part of this semester. I'm thankful for all the teachers and their hard work and the students and all their dedication. Let me tell you what's going to happen in this assembly today. We're going to have some time of singing together. We're going to have a story by Mrs. Flurry and Mrs. Serafini. Donna Ana Lucia will pray over those students that are leaving. We're going to have your teachers sing a special song, and then we'll have a word from our superintendent, Mr. Nelson. You know, this has been one very difficult and unusual semester, but the Lord has been with us. I'm reminded of the Advent season, Christmas. It's all about Emmanuel, God with us. And when I think of that and I realize that God came to be near us, that when we put our faith in Him, He will fill our hearts with hope and joy and peace.
Good morning, PACA. We traditionally sing a couple of songs at our last day assembly for the semester. We sing them together in the gym. We can't do that this time, but I ask that you join us. Join us in singing together these next two songs. The first one will be Jingle Bells. So, get some keys, some house keys, get something to make some noise, and shake it as we're singing the song together. Do you have your keys ready? Here we go. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh, dashing through the snow on a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the hills we go, laughing all the way. Bells on bobtail ring, making spirits bright. What fun it is to ride and sing sleighing song tonight. Oh, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. The next song we're going to sing is going to be both in English and in Portuguese. And the name of the song is Silent Night. In Portuguese, it is Noite Feliz. Silent night, holy night, all is gone, all is bright, round yon virgin mother and child. Holy if the thank you for singing along.
Merry Christmas to our PACA family. We would like to share one more story with you this semester, and it is the story of the very first Christmas, the reason why we celebrate. Our story is going to be told from the Jesus Storybook Bible, which is written by Sally Lloyd Jones and illustrated by Jago. He is here. The Nativity from Luke 1-2. Everything was ready. The moment God had been waiting for was here at last. God was coming to help his people, just as he promised in the beginning. But how would he come? What would he be like? What would he do? Mountains would have bowed down, seas would have roared, trees would have clapped their hands, but the earth held its breath. As silent as snow falling, he came in. And when no one was looking, in the darkness, he came. There was a young girl who was engaged to a man named Joseph. Joseph was the great-great-great-great-great-grandson of King David. One morning, this girl was minding her own business when suddenly a great warrior of light appeared right there in her bedroom. He was Gabriel, and he was an angel, a special messenger from heaven. When she saw the tall, shining man standing there, Mary was frightened. "You do not need to be scared," Gabriel said. "God is very happy with you." Mary looked around to see if perhaps he was talking to someone else. "Mary," Gabriel said, and he laughed with such gladness that Mary's eyes filled with sudden tears. "Mary, you're going to have a baby, a little boy. You will call him Jesus. He is God's own son. He's the one. He's the rescuer. The God who flung planets into space and kept them whirling around and around. The God who made the universe with just a word. The one who could do anything at all was making himself small and coming down as a baby." Wait. God was sending a baby to rescue the world? "But it is too wonderful," Mary said, and felt her heart beating hard. "How can it be true?" Is anything too wonderful for God?" Gabriel asked. So Mary trusted God more than what her eyes could see, and she believed. "I am God's servant," she said. "Whatever God says, I will do." Sure enough, it was just as the angel had said. 9 months later, Mary was almost ready to have her baby. Now, Mary and Joseph had to take a trip to Bethlehem, the town King David was from. But when they reached the little town, they found every room was full. Every bed was taken. "Go away," the innkeepers told them. "There isn't any place for you." Where would they stay? Soon Mary's baby would come. They couldn't find anywhere except an old, tumble-down stable. So they stayed there, where the cows and the donkeys and the horses stayed. And there, in the stable, amongst the chickens and the donkeys and the cows, in the quiet of the night, God gave the world his wonderful gift. The baby that would change the world was born, his baby son. Mary and Joseph wrapped him up to keep him warm. They made a soft bed of straw and used the animal's feeding trough as his cradle. And they gazed in wonder at God's great gift, wrapped in swaddling clothes and lying in a manger. Mary and Joseph named him Jesus, Emmanuel, which means God has come to live with us, because of course he had.
A luz de todo o mundo. A história dos pastores de Lucas 2. Naquela mesma noite, entre as outras estrelas, de repente uma nova estrela luminosa apareceu. Ela destacava-se de todas as estrelas na escuridão da noite no céu. Uma que iluminava com o seu brilho. Brilhava na noite e fazia as outras estrelas parecerem pálidas perto de si. Deus a colocou lá, quando seu filho bebê nasceu, para ser como um marco luminoso brilhando sobre ele, iluminando na escuridão, mostrando às pessoas o caminho até ele. Vejam, Deus era como um novo papai. Ele não poderia manter as boas novas para ele mesmo. Ele havia esperado todos estes longos anos por este momento, e agora ele queria contar para todos. Então, ele eliminou todos os obstáculos. Ele enviou um anjo para contar a Maria as boas notícias. Ele colocou uma estrela especial no céu para mostrar onde o bebê estava. E agora ele estava enviando um grande coral de anjos para cantar sua feliz música para o mundo. Ele está aqui! Ele veio! Vão e o vejam, meu pequeno menino! Para onde você enviaria seu esplendoroso coral? Para uma grande sala de concerto, talvez? Ou para um palácio? Quem sabe? Deus o enviou para uma pequena montanha, fora da pequena cidade, no meio da noite. Ele enviou todos aqueles anjos para cantarem a um cansado grupo de velhos pastores que estavam cuidando de suas ovelhas fora de Belém. Naqueles dias, lembrem-se, as pessoas costumavam rir dos pastores, de dizer que eles eram fedorentos e chamá-los com outros nomes rudes, que eu não poderia mencioná-los aqui. Vejam, as pessoas pensavam que os pastores não eram ninguém, apenas pessoas sujas, velhas e desprezíveis. Mas Deus deve ter pensado que os pastores eram realmente muito importantes, porque foram eles que Deus escolheu primeiro para contar as boas notícias. Naquela noite, alguns pastores estavam em campos abertos, esquentando-se perto de uma fogueira, quando, de repente, as ovelhas saltaram. Elas ficaram amedrontadas com alguma coisa. As oliveiras cochicharam. O que foi aquilo? Asas batendo? Eles se viraram. Em frente a eles levantou-se um enorme anjo de luz, brilhando na escuridão. Não tenham medo de mim, o anjo luminoso disse. Eu não vim para machucá-los. Eu vim trazer a vocês boas notícias para todas as pessoas em todos os lugares. Hoje, na cidade de Davi, em Belém, nasceu o Filho de Deus. Vocês poderão ir e vê-lo. Ele está dormindo em uma manjedoura. Atrás do anjo, eles viram uma estranha nuvem de fogo. Mas não era uma nuvem, eram anjos, tropas e tropas de anjos vestidos de luz. E eles estavam cantando uma linda canção. Glória a Deus seja o louvor e honra e glória. E tão rápido quanto apareceram, os anjos saíram. Os pastores refletiram seu brilho, deixaram suas ovelhas, correram pela grama descendo a colina, atravessando os portões de Belém, descendo pelas ruas estreitas, pelos pátios, andando, passam por uma hospedaria, viram a esquina por uma cerca viva até que, enfim, eles alcançaram. Eles alcançaram um estábulo prestes a cair. Eles prenderam a respiração. Depois, tranquilamente, eles entraram. Eles ajoelharam-se no chão sujo. Eles tinham ouvido sobre a criança prometida e agora ele estava aqui, o Filho Celestial, o que fez as estrelas, um bebê dormindo nos braços de sua mãe. Este bebê seria como aquela estrela luminosa que brilhava no céu aquela noite. A luz que ilumina o mundo todo, destruindo a escuridão e ajudando as pessoas a enxergarem. E a noite ficou mais escura e a estrela mais luminosa.
The King of all kings. The story of the three wise men from Matthew 2. Far away in the east, three clever men saw the very same star. The star that God had put in the sky when Jesus was born. They knew it was a sign. A baby king had been born. They had been waiting for the star. They knew it would come. "He's here!" they shouted. "He's here!" And I am sure if you had been there, you would have heard them laughing and dancing and singing until the sun came up. At dawn, they packed up their camels and wrapped gifts for the baby. They brought their most precious treasures of all: frankincense, gold, and myrrh. Special, sparkly, lovely smelling, gleaming things, just right for a king. The three wise men, actually, if you had met them, you would have thought they were kings because they were so rich and clever and important looking. They set off. They rode their camels across endless deserts, up steep, steep mountains, down into deep, deep valleys, through raging rivers, over grassy plains. Night and day and day and night, for hours that turned into days, that turned into weeks, that turned into months and months, until at last they reached Jerusalem. Jerusalem was by far the most important city for miles around, and as anyone can tell you, that's where a palace would be, and kings are born in palaces, so that's where they went. But they were in for a surprise. They went to see King Herod. Surely he would know where this baby was. But he didn't. In fact, he didn't like the sound of a new king. It made him cross. He didn't want anyone to be king except him. But Herod's advisors told the three wise men what was written in their books, what God had said about the baby king. Go to Bethlehem, that's where you'll find him. Suddenly the star they had seen in the east started moving again, showing them the way. So the three wise men followed the star out of the big city, along the road into the little town of Bethlehem. They followed the star through the streets of Bethlehem, out of the nice part of town, through the not so nice part of town, into the really not nice at all part of town, down a little dirt track until it stopped right over a little house. But wait, it wasn't a palace, and there weren't any guards, or servants, or flags, or red carpets, or trumpets, or anything. Did they get it wrong? Or was this what God meant? Sure enough, in that little house, there sitting on his mother's knee, they found him, the baby king. The three men knelt before the little king. They took off their rich royal turbans and gleaming golden crowns. They bowed their noble heads to the ground and gave him their sparkling treasures. The journey that had begun so many centuries before had led three wise men here, to a little town, to a little house, to a little child, to the king God had promised David all those years before. But this child was a new kind of king. Though he was the Prince of Heaven, he had become poor. Though he was the mighty God, he had become a helpless baby. This king hadn't come to be the boss. He had come to be a servant. We want to thank you for listening to our story, and we want to encourage you to celebrate this baby that God sent to this earth for you, for me, for all of us. Again, we wish you a very Merry Christmas.
Gostaríamos de agradecê-los por ouvirem a nossa história e gostaríamos de encorajá-los a comemorar o nascimento desse precioso bebê que veio para mim, para vocês, para todos nós. E mais uma vez, Feliz Natal!
Chegamos ao final de mais um semestre cheio de desafios. E agora na nossa assembleia é um momento em que o nosso coração fica bem apertado. É o tempo de nos despedirmos de alguns queridos. Se estivéssemos aqui na escola todos juntos, eu chamaria para a frente aqueles alunos que vão nos deixar. Mas hoje vai ser diferente. Se você está aí do outro lado da telinha e vai nos deixar por um semestre ou por um tempo indeterminado, eu gostaria de orar por você. Então eu convido a todos a se juntarem a mim em oração. Vamos orar. Senhor Deus, nós te agradecemos por esse semestre. Te agradecemos, ó Pai, porque podemos ver o quanto o Senhor tem sido generoso com a nossa escola, com os nossos alunos, o quanto o Senhor tem sido cuidadoso com a vida dos nossos alunos. E agora que chegamos ao fim deste semestre, entregamos a vida destes alunos que estão partindo. Pedimos ao Pai que o Senhor os acompanhe, que o Senhor trabalhe na vida destes alunos, na mente e no coração destes alunos, que eles possam levar aqui da PACA as lembranças, os aprendizados, ó Senhor, e mais do que tudo, eles possam levar aquilo que eles conheceram do Senhor, aquela semente plantada possa germinar. E assim como nós abençoamos esses alunos na entrada, nós queremos abençoá-los, ó Senhor, também na sua saída, ó Senhor. Fica com eles, ó Pai, é o que eu te peço, em nome de Jesus. Amém.
What hope we hold this starlit night. A king is born in Bethlehem. Our journey long to seek the light that leads to the hallowed manger ground.
What fear we felt in the silent age, 400 years can he be found, but broken like a baby's cry, rejoice in the hallowed manger ground. Emmanuel,
good afternoon, good morning, whatever time you might be watching this. I am very pleased to send a Christmas greeting, one that includes just great thanks and praise to God for the sending of His Son, Jesus Christ. And as we celebrate the Advent season and continue to do so for another few days before Christmas Day, I just wanted to let you know how much we appreciate the partnership with our parents, how much we intend to increase the partnership, to deepen it, to make, to be good listeners, have understanding of what our partners, you as parents, and the rest of the community as well, here at PACA, need to know, need to think, and need to do in order to plan well and do the best we can, and then ask God's blessing on our future together. My wife Kathleen and I are so grateful for the welcome we've had this semester, and yet we think of the welcome that Jesus, the baby, had on earth. Not too great, and yet He deserved much, much more. So as we think about honoring Him and His presence in our lives and with the way He's connected and remains connected to us, even if we are unfaithful. What a time of just continuing from the Thanksgiving break we had in November, and just a year round being thankful, every day being Thanksgiving Day. And so I pray that your families will have wonderful celebrations, wonderful times of even learning over the next few weeks before we return together. Some are able to return to campus. Our high school students will be able to be presential, starting with the seniors on January 26th. Hybrid learning will be going on for the 10th through 12th grade during the ensuing weeks. And we will continue with the extracurricular through pre-kindergarten through grade 9 on on January 26th. But in addition to that, I wanted everyone to know that our school is not hoping to begin with everything full. We're hoping so, but we just don't seem to be getting information that allows us to do so, to open the campus more fully and conduct in-person classes for learning in all levels. But we will be, as soon as possible, informing you about that when we know and when we're able to say. So please be patient. Keep praying for us and pray for our government and its leaders here in Brazil, that we will know quickly and clearly how soon we can resume our learning on campus with all students. Listening to the December meeting with the Parent Advisory Committee across the levels, we've decided to make some changes, and so those will be amended into and added to the calendar in amending it in the third quarter. We'll be meeting with pre-K 1 through grade 1, all families, parents who are interested in attending on a similar morning meeting from 7:30 to 9 a.m. And we'll be scheduling those with not only pre-K 1 through grade 1 parents, but also for the grade 2 through 5, the grades 6 through 8, and the grades 9 to 12. I think we may call it the Superintendent's Roundtable, but we may have a more creative title to call it later. But I wanted you to be aware of that. We'd like to share a lot and have much of your ideas shared with us as well. So please look for that announcement coming in late January. Again, may this season be a blessed one for you as it is for us, and especially may He strengthen your families through PACA.